Brisbane by 35. That's actually very close. Collingwood by 8. I'll let you off because of the context of the game. And it was a bit of an upset. And also, new home. I'll be nice to Carlo. The first comment I read of him in my new home. Bulldogs. I know what I just said, but he has to go on the list for that. No excuses for that one. No bloody excuses. Geelong. That's twice. He did tip Richmond. He did tip Richmond. That is a thing that happened. Margin wrong, but it's fine. Fremantle, he got that right. North, why are you tipping North? What's the point? St Kilda by, not only did he tip St Kilda, he tipped them by 28 points. That's a fourth time. Port Adelaide 40 points. That's actually not too bad. Oh my days. There's always a bit of a headache with some of Carlo's predictions every single time. You can sort the rankings in. Ah, yeah, that was I was asking about how to find how people got 9 tips right in the previous round, because it was a hard round to tip. Right, here we go. Ben has returned. Let's go. And Ethan compared to the bottom. I look forward to reading that part. We are finally at round 19. It's been a journey, and there's only 2 comments to read, so let's get into it. Essendon vs GWS. GWS, Essendon don't even have healthy players to choose from. Should be a good win for the Giants, but I've been pretty wrong before. Not wrong this time. Brisbane vs Western Bulldogs. Flip of a coin for me. Brisbane are the real deal, and the Bulldogs have had really good performances this season. I'll say Brisbane. This could be a fantastic game for the neutral. And it was. I can confirm I was watching. Hawthorn versus Port Adelaide. Hawthorn, they have something to play for, whereas Port don't have anything but blood in the youngsters. Well, the tip was correct. Sydney versus North Melbourne. Sydney, they do have something to play for. They have a slim chance of making finals. Hope North are competitive, but highly doubted. Well, the tip was right. I don't know about the making finals, but that has to be, well, that remains to be seen. 2 of the most boring games. Carlton versus Melbourne. Good lord, do I have to make a tip for this game? Yes, we're on the list for missing a game. Melbourne, but I'm not confident on that. This game could be a draw, if I'm honest. Well, it wasn't a draw, but I just realised you suggested Melbourne, so you just made the list. West Coast versus Richmond. West Coast, only because it's Optus, no other reasoning. Just the once, but it's a total of 11 times now. You are speeding up there, Ben. The only one who's beating you is Ethan, and you know why he's on the list. Geelong versus St Kilda. I can tell you what's going to happen. The Saints start well, but Geelong do enough to win, so I'll say Geelong. I don't know if they started well, but Geelong definitely had enough to win. Here we go. Here we go. This is what I was waiting for. This is what I wanted. Collingwood versus Fremantle. Collingwood, of course. Collingwood, of course. Of course. Collingwood. Of course. Fremantle don't win at the G anyway. That'll be a good side. But they play too slow and trouble Collingwood. Fremantle don't win at the G anyway. They won at the G a few times. They've even beaten Collingwood at the G before. I remember that happening. I can't remember what year it was, but it's happened. After they moved to Optus at some point. They'll be a good side, but they play too slow to trouble Collingwood. Too slow to trouble Collingwood. This team right here is too slow to trouble Collingwood. Plus they don't win at the G. That doesn't happen, does it, Ben? That's once for the Collingwood, of course, the overconfidence. A second time for claiming 3 win at the G. Play too slow to trouble Collingwood. I think that's another 2 times. So you're now on the list 15 times. I hope your last tip is bloody right. Adelaide versus Adelaide versus Gold Coast. Nice pun. Is that Call of Duty reference? Probably isn't, but that's what I thought of. Adelaide, they want revenge for losing to the Suns earlier in the season where they should have won. Oh yeah, the umpire malarkey. Round 18 for everyone's tips into the blender, didn't it? Hopefully there's a better round of 30, but the Saturday night games might bring it down a touch. Hope everyone is doing well. Yeah, I don't know why these two are Saturday night games. I'm glad I missed out. I had to like not stream so I could have more time to pack for moving, because I left my electrical stuff quite late because I was still recording videos until Saturday. I would have been an exception if all of them were playing or it was like a really huge game, but when I saw these two games I thought, okay, at least I don't have to wake up. I'll just pack my things to move home. Because why these two are Saturday night, I don't know. AFL fixture schedulers, he just made a list. I also wonder, like, how do they decide these fixtures? Because it's definitely not random. Look at this. In the same bloody round, have a look at this. Sydney Derby, Q Clash, Western Derby, Adelaide Showdown, and Richmond Collingwood. All of that's in the same round. Yeah, you can't tell me that's not on purpose. you can't tell me that's not on purpose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's more than half the games that are like fierce, brutal rivalries. Like they really hate each other. And even beyond that, you got Victoria versus Victoria. Victoria versus Victoria. They're going to want to beat each other, of course. North versus Geelong. I know Geelong, yeah, that's actually still Victoria, but obviously they play away from Melbourne. But still, right, Victoria. So the games that are not fierce rivalries are all like in the same state. So in a way, every game's about bragging rights here. Every single game's about bragging rights. Like it's just like I'm not complaining because that's a good round. But my days, that is crazy. That is, I don't know, is there a word for that? That's just ridiculous.
You just made the list! 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 You just made the list!